Welcome to the Music Nut Program. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining me today. And welcome to the latest edition of the album After. The premise of this series is to focus on an album that was released after an album that was a commercial breakthrough for a particular band or artist. Today's band, the Wallflowers. Today's album, released on October 10, 2000, Breach. This would be the Wallflowers' third album. It was released on Interscope Records. It would give us two singles in Sleepwalker and Letters from the Wasteland. This would be the album after their 1996 breakthrough album, also on Interscope Records, Bringing Down the Horse. This would be a huge, huge album for the Wallflowers, especially on the radio. This would give us four very strong singles, two of which you could not avoid in Sixth Avenue Heartache, and especially one Headlight. The other singles off this album were The Difference and Three Marlenas. This was produced by T-Bone Burnett. It would make Jakob Dylan, their main songwriter and son of Bob Dylan, a household name for the late 1990s. Now, that album has sold 4 million copies in the United States alone. Sixth Avenue Heartache was nominated for 2 Grammys in 1997 and didn't win. 1998, the song won Headlights, which was the biggest, most played song in 1997, would give the Wallflowers 2 Grammy Awards. You could not avoid the Wallflowers for about 2 years. I experienced this firsthand. This album had a slow burn. It was an album that had legs. It took 6 months for it to go gold in the United States, and that was when just Sixth Avenue Heartache was the single. Once one Headlight came out, and it was getting played all over your AOR stations, album-oriented rock, your pop stations, your adult contemporary stations too, you could not avoid the Wallflowers. Got played heavy all through 97 and part of 1998 as well. It had a 2-year stretch where it got played a lot. Now, this would come out in October of 2000, 4.5 years after Bringing Down the Horse. Sleepwalker was the first single. It did not chart very high at all. Letters from the Wasteland was the second single. I don't ever recall hearing this on the radio back in the day. This would go gold in the United States. Took a year to go gold. Did it deserve a better fate? I'm going to discuss that today. Who played on this album? We have Jakob Dylan, who was the main songwriter, lead vocals and guitar. We had Rami Jaffe on keyboards, vibraphone, and backing vocals. We have Greg Richling on bass, percussion, and backing vocals, Michael Ward on guitar and backing vocals, and Mario Kalir on drums. This was produced by Andrew Slater and Michael Penn. Michael Penn's probably best known in the United States for being a one-hit wonder for the song No Myth in 1989. That was off the album March, and I can tell you, because I own these albums, that album, along with the following album, 1992's Free For All, are on the level of these Wallflowers albums. Now, this is where Jakob Dylan really, really matured as a songwriter, and he was already there on Bringing Down a Horse, but now he's getting more personal with his songs. Compare this album, the songs are just as strong as Bringing Down a Horse. Maybe not as many hooks. But did these songs deserve to at least get played on the radio? I believe they did. And I'm going to go over that now. Letters from the Wasteland is the opening track. This is similar to One Headlight in its scope, in the fact that it's the vocal melody and the bass line carrying the song going into a great chorus. Not as many hooks as one Headlight, but it should have been played a lot more than it did. It is a superb opener. Hand Me Down is the next track. It has some nice subtle slide guitar on here. It works very well. Nice harmonies on here. It's more mid-tempo roots rock. Another strong track. Sleepwalker was the first single. This was released on September 2000. And I wrote here, why did this not hit? Because I remember this song coming out, and I was like, okay, we're going to hear the Wallflowers for another year. And we didn't. Nice hook and a subtle guitar line. It does rock harder than the singles off of Bringing On a Horse. Maybe that's why adult contemporary radio stayed away from this song. Excellent chorus here, talking about dealing with fame, how during that time, and these are my words, Jakob Dylan would have been, it would have been how he would be on a treadmill. He's just going through this, trying to suck it all in. And I think this song should have been a big hit for the Wallflowers. Maybe their third biggest hit. But it did not receive that fate, and it's a shame. I've Been Delivered could have been another single off this and could have made a lot of waves. The hook on this is in that vibraphone line by Rami Jaffe. Very cool. Very strong chorus on here. It has a nice rollicking feel to it. Very good. Witness. This is very slow and haunting. It has great harmonies on it. Again, this is a song about dealing with fame. And the horn lines and the strings on here are very classy. What a hard-hitting lyric on this. Very deep. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. It has a very solemn tone to it. It's about, you have all these people who love you when they're hot, when you're hot, and now they're not here anymore now that you're not. You find out who your true friends are. This is the premise of this song. Some Flowers Bloom Dead. This is a breakup song. And great guitar lines on here to hit those hard-hitting lyrics. What wonderful craftsmanship on here. It definitely has an Americana feel, but rocks a little harder than that. Strong guitar lines on this. Very strong track. Another song I think could have made waves on AOR. Morning Train. This is carried by acoustic guitars, more folk. It feels a lot like the band. When I hear this song, I can hear Richard Manuel singing this. And I feel that way about the next song, too. This is very well written, talking about longing to get off the road and be back home. Up From Under. Again, this is more of an acoustic song. Great use of analogies on here. I like the key change and the bridge. Again, I can hear Richard Manuel, who had the softest, more tender voice of the three guys who sang in the band, singing this song and bringing this to new heights. I mean, that's not, Jakob kind of sounds like Richard Manuel on these two tracks that I'm talking about. Murder 101. Now, this is the song where Elvis Costello guests on the vocals and harmonies. This is more of a rocker, probably the hardest rocking song on the album. There is a lot of keyboards on this, but it complements the heavy guitars on it. Well, heavy by the Wallflower standards very well. Very energetic. Cool harmonies on this. Very strong track. Last song is Birdcage. This is a 7-minute and 42-second song if you read the liner notes. However, what you have is actually a 3-minute and 28-second song, and then a pause, and then another song comes on called Baby Bird. And that song has more of a lullaby feel to it, but the original Birdcage has the acoustic guitars leading the way. There is some very memorable guitar lines on this, but they're really subtle the way that they're played. It's not a guitar workout at all. It's just very lyrical playing on this. So to me, this album just doesn't have the high points that Bringing On the Horse did. And it deserved a better fate. And the thing about Down the Horse, too, that I should mention is the other songs on there, besides the four singles like God Don't Make Lonely Girls and Laughing Out Loud, those songs were killer, as were the rest of the songs on the album. That album I would give a 9, and this album I would give an 8.5. Only difference, deeper songwriting, more of an acoustic feel at times, but the songs are just as strong and they just take a little more time to resonate. Definitely deserves a better fate. Did Breach. What are your thoughts on Breach by the Wallflowers? Do you think it's deserved a better fate, or do you think it did just as well as it did? Do you think maybe the Wallflowers or Jakob Dylan at that time were just getting a little overexposed and there was a little bit of a backlash to this? Do you think part of the reason that this album didn't sell as well was because it took too long to come out? Please let me know in the comments. Just to give you some programming notes, Thin Lizzy Thursday will be continuing on Thursday, December 26th. On that episode, I will be reviewing the 2 proper live albums from Thin Lizzy in their lifetime, Live and Dangerous and Life, or Life Live. Also dropping as I record this show will be the last episode of the Accept series, Up to the Limit, on my friend John Clauser's channel, My Music Corner. This will be my last appearance on My Music Corner as a co-captain. We will be talking about Accept's latest album from April of 2024, Humanoid. Just to let you know, I will be having another series coming up after I conclude the It's Thin Lizzy Thursday series. There will be a ranking of the albums show that will be coming out on Thursday, January 1, 2025 as well. I also will have some upcoming shows, such as my favorite 10 albums from 2024. I will probably put that out on either December 28th or December 29th, 2024. So be on the lookout for that. So until I see you again, as I'm filming this on December 25, 2024, let me wish you all a Merry Christmas to you, your families, and your communities. Do what you love, and I'll talk to you soon.